Bathurst put all thoughts aside except the imminent independence of Gambia. Representing Britain at the ceremony came the Duke of Kent, accompanied by the gracious Duchess. They were escorted by the Prime Minister, Mr. David Joanna. For the thousands who had come to Bathurst, it was an historic moment when the Duke handed the constitutional instruments of independence to the Prime Minister. After that formality, the people let themselves go, rejoicing in their traditional ways.
In the heart of West Africa, the Gambia is a nation navigating its path from authoritarianism to democracy. Yet, as the country progresses, the political landscape for women remains fraught with challenges. In this documentary, we delve into the lives of three extraordinary women: Rahim Malik Lowe, Binta Jane Jallow, and Lala Toure, who have devoted their lives to reshaping the Gambia's political narrative and advocating for gender equality.
Come to my office. This is the Banjul City Council. My name is Rahim Malik Lowe.
I am Binta Jane Jallow, Deputy Mayor of KMC, also Councillor for Bakau Newtown for Jallow.
My name is Lala Toure.
What inspired you to pursue a career in politics, particularly focusing on advocating for women's rights and representation?
Once upon a time, we all know that we have somebody, quote unquote, we call a dictator in the Gambia, and we all came out, or many of us came out to say we want to have a democratic government. So I was one of them who advocated for a change of government, and I was living in Sweden, trying my level best to make sure that we have a democratic government. When we voted His Excellency Adama Barrow in power, I decided to come back and contribute to national development. Because, as I said, growing up in Banjul and seeing Banjul dilapidated the later years of the Jammeh government, and seeing how women were suffering, being the first child, female child of my mother, I said, let me go and do my best. I believe at the time that I can change a lot. I was a councillor, a nominated councillor in Sweden, and understanding how local government works in Sweden, I decided to come here and be part of the local governance. So what inspired me is the experience I have from Sweden and the confidence I have understanding that I can change the narratives in Banjul.
In 2018, Rahim became the first female mayor of Banjul City Council since its establishment in 1816, a historic achievement that set the stage for her to champion women's participation in politics through various initiatives. In your opinion, what are the biggest obstacles facing women in politics today, and how do you propose overcoming them?
Well, as for the women, I think what we need to do is to make sure we bring them together. Whether it will be town hall meeting, or we'll bring all of the women groups, youth groups together. That can inspire them, or that can bring them together. But it's a challenge though, but still we need to make sure that we bring everyone on board. That's all inclusive, which we need to.
There are a lot of barriers, like I just said. There's the political barriers, there's the social barriers, the socio-cultural barriers, given that Gambia is a highly patriarchal country where the roles and responsibilities of men and women are defined by the social construct. So we have norms, gender norms and gender values that defines what women should do, what men should do. And already this creates This creates the room for men to dominate our politics, to dominate decision-making processes in the country, and that creates a huge barrier for women, not only in participating in politics, but also in looking to hold positions of power within political party structures.
How do you plan to encourage more women to enter politics and take on leadership roles?
Through advocacy. Advocacy is very, very important. Advocacy meaning the awareness of telling women that the girl child should be educated. Telling women that we as women should be part of the national cake. And if we cannot be part of the national cake, because most of us are not educated, we have to fight tooth and nail to make sure that our girl child are educated. Because education is the key to success. This is where everything starts. So again, that means fighting the traditional and cultural norms, taking what is good out of it and throwing what we think will not benefit us. So the awareness is very important, education is very important. These are the key that will encourage women to get into politics.
Mayor Low's commitment to encouraging more women in politics is clear and impactful. By championing mentorship, creating inclusive spaces, and advocating for supportive policies, she is paving the way for a stronger, more representative leadership. Her vision promises not to just inspire, but empower women to take their rightful place in shaping the future. Can you share a bit about your journey from politics to your current work on democracy and gender equality?
So over the years, I've done a lot of work with civil society organizations, but also with political parties, and now with the international community. And my work has, for the most part, focused on promoting the roles of women, enhanced participation of women and representation of women, particularly in political and electoral processes in the Gambia. And my journey has been one that has transitioned a lot, like I said, from civil society to political parties and now to international work. And what has remained constant is my passion to further the cause of women's rights in the Gambia, particularly in the areas of political representation, but also influencing national policy and decision-making processes.
Lala's advocacy has been the driving force in promoting gender equality within political spaces. Her efforts in capacity building and reforms are setting the stage for future generations of women leaders in the Gambia. How do you see the role of political parties in promoting gender equality within their ranks?
You know, we have a saying in Wolof, and that is Kulawane Sangul Satar Labuga. And again, if you're living in a glass house, don't throw stones. So before talking about the government bringing up policies, the quota system here and there, we have to start it from our political parties. The political parties should set an example. If you look at the political parties, and this is my honest opinion, most of them are men. So we are most of the time deputies. And even now, if you look at the political parties, I think it's only UDP now who have a female deputy. And if you go to NPP, they have a male. I think PDIS also have a male, and so on and so forth. So, and even GDC. So where are we? Where are we? So, and then it's not for us to nominate us as deputies. Even whereas we're elected as deputies, what happens normally is they relegate. Our positions are always relegated to nothing.
Political parties play a huge role, a very crucial role in advocating for the consolidation of democracy. And when we talk about democracy, it has different components, and key to any thriving democracy is inclusion. So in order for political parties to promote internal party democracy, but also to promote democracy and consolidate it within the country, they need to adopt the values and the standards of democracy. And that includes actually creating the space for women, but also advocating for the rights of women to hold seats of political power, both within the parties but also outside of the parties during elections. They're nominated or they are given the party tickets to run for positions in local government, in parliament, but even in the executive.
What strategies have you found most effective in advocating for policy changes that support gender equality in politics?
Inclusion, equality, these are all fundamental values of a strengthened democracy. And as we are having these conversations for the past couple of years, Gambia has been transitioning to a more democratic dispensation. So attaining or achieving gender equality, achieving inclusion, they're all parts, components that are needed for us to have a progressive and a sustainable democracy. So we can't have a full democracy, we can't have a functioning democracy that thrives without having all these components or all these pieces together. And in order for our democracy to work, we must create the spaces, we must create opportunities, we must create the platforms for different sections of our population, especially marginalized and vulnerable groups that have historically been marginalized.
How do you envision the future of women's participation in politics over the next decade?
Over the next decade, hopefully there will be a lot more improvement and we will be able to achieve a quota system in terms of representation in parliament, but we'll also be able to see increased women representation within internal party structures where they're able to influence decisions, where they're able to run for elections, contest for elections and win positions. And hopefully we will see increased representation in the executive and the cabinet, but also in local government, and we will see women being able to play very crucial roles in bringing about socio-economic and political development in the country.
Can you discuss any specific policies or initiatives that have been particularly effective in increasing women's political participation?
I would say one thing that I have recognized, working in this space, you do a lot in advocacy. You do the top-bottom, you do the bottom-up approach, and you realize, one thing that I've realized, that the most effective strategy has been leveraging on partnerships, building partnerships and maintaining these partnerships, particularly with people that are in positions where they can influence decisions, right? So if we're advocating for a quota system to increase women's representation in politics, building and maintaining partnerships with National Assembly members, because eventually they will be the ones to make the decisions on whether or not the Gambia gets a quota system. So not only building connections, not only building networks, but also learning how to maintain partnership it's a very needed strategy in advocating for gender equality in the Gambia.
What advice would you give to young women who aspire to pursue a career in politics or public service?
Just to believe in themselves, understand that it's a tight gate, and all they need to do is to find the key. And it's not difficult, it depends on them. First, it has to do with change of the mindset. Second, discipline. And third, believing in yourself. And these are the three things that you need to find where the keys are. If you have them, you're okay. And education is very short. It's just a very short time. Can you imagine from the first year to the 5th year of your life, you're just like, you don't even know what's happening. And then from the 5th year to the 10th or 15 years, you're still like, okay, you will understand. It's cold, it's hot. And then before you know it, you already graduated from school. So it's a very, very short time. I wish I could have turned the clock back. All I would do is invest in education and have triple PhDs. Yes. So education is the key to success, and discipline can give you a lot. and sympathy as well. That is also very, very important. Share, share, share.
What advice would you give to young women aspiring to enter politics or work in the field of democracy and gender equality?
I belong to a party, yes, but as a deputy mayor, I'm for everyone, for every woman, because people are looking at me, you know, as a leader or as a woman being did that position, or whenever they saw me, so they feel happy. So that's why I bring everyone on board, youth, women, everyone. Let's come together and fight for our rights.
Do not be discouraged, because this work comes with a lot. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of confidence, it takes a lot of hard work to make it in this field, whether it's in democracy, whether it's in political party work. And there will always be all these barriers that they draw you back, they hold you back, but to not be discouraged and understand that we stand to achieve more if we're able to break through these barriers and defy the odds and get to spaces where we're able to work collectively and take collective action towards consolidating our democracy.
While significant progress has been made, the journey towards equal representation in politics is far from complete. These remarkable women remind us that change is not only possible, but necessary for a more just and equitable world. As more women step into leadership roles, their collective voices will shape the future of politics in the Gambia and pave the way for generations to come.